Great to hear from you, John. Alan or Alain in Montreal. Hello, Alain.
Bonjour, Monsieur Prager.
Bonjour, monsieur. Hey, I got a question for you. All right?
Please go ahead.
Who is on the Canadian $5 bill?
Oh, you got me. I can't believe
It's unbelievable. Canadians, they don't know who's on their own money. I can't believe it. You know how you're surprised, aren't you, Alain?
I'm going to have to call back and make sure I
No,
know them all
it's too late. C'est trop tard. Trop tard.
C'est trop tard.
No. All right, go ahead.
Le dommage est fait.
Yeah,
okay, great to hear you. Dennis, I'm self-described for your #1 French-Canadian fan. And my wife, who's sitting next to me, says I'm a better husband for listening to you. And my kids say the same thing about being their father. But my friends won't admit to that because they're mostly liberals.
Uh-huh. It doesn't matter. If your kids think you're a better father and your wife thinks you're a better husband, then that's quite ça suffit, monsieur.
That's right. So my question is as follows. When I went down with Mayor Lou to Brooklyn to meet you in June, I was going to bring you Cuban cigars. And then I thought, well, I hear Dennis talk a lot about doing business with Russia and how you feel about this. And I said, I don't know how you would react if I brought cigars made in Cuba. So that's why I brought you the maple syrup instead. But if I ever meet you again, would it be appropriate for me to bring you?
Well, it depends. Was the maple syrup from Vermont?
No, it was from Quebec.
All right, because Vermont has a socialist senator, so that raises the maple syrup moral problems. By the way, you got one lovely wife. I just want to tell you.
Thank you.
I have given that a lot of thought because I give this stuff. I'm going to put you on hold here. Thanks for calling. But there was some crosstalk there from the guy who's on the $5 bill in Canada. You're the second Canadian in the day who didn't know that. By the way, there are almost no Americans who don't know who's on our money. There's a much more patriotic country, and this is not a knock. I think Canada right now, today, is the leader of the free world. So I'm hardly knocking Canada. I'm merely describing a fact that Americans have been. I think that's changing, which is a tragedy of indescribable proportions. Anyway, here on the Cuban cigar issue, there are two questions: legality and morality. It's illegal, but I know you're asking morality, and that's what matters to me in any event. If people give me Cuban cigars, I smoke them. I happen to prefer Nicaraguan and Honduran and some Dominican cigars to Cuban anyway. I just tend not to like the taste of Cuban cigars. I think they're wildly overrated today. There are magnificent cigars from Central America. That's number one. Number two, though, if I'm not going to buy a Cuban cigar because it's got a communist government, why would I buy a Nicaraguan cigar when they're run by the Sandinistas? I don't think Castro has not been hurt. The Castro brothers have not been hurt by the boycott. The Cuban people have been, especially now. I was for it in the heyday of the Cold War. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, I did not see its purpose, and I hate communism. There isn't a person walking the face of the earth who hates communism more than I do. There are many who hate it as much, but I don't think there's anybody who hates it more. And I think that the contrary argument could be made that since revolutions happen when there are rising expectations, hence the term, the revolution of rising expectations, that enabling the Cubans to have a little more money and some more goods might hasten the decline of communism rather than retard it.